Now, we are going to skip this next break because we've got a very important report. Now, we had this yesterday, but it was so prescient, it was so relevant to what happened just moments afterwards regarding the true agenda behind this race war, why it's being pushed by the media, by the popular culture. Here's Alex Jones.
What we have is exponential envy. We have globalists at the top that have used class warfare to control people. And then really all they do is make them feel worthless and disempowered and basically just zombies to the system, frightened followers who then only tie in and buy into the larger superstructure that's destroying them because they believe they get power and solace by merging with that. And one of the most clear-cut examples of this is the last 8 years, the Tea Party that was started by Ron Paul and the Liberty Movement, myself, and the listeners of this broadcast did get partially co-opted by the Republican Party. But then the left all came in and just branded it as completely racist, completely evil, and said that no one of any color was welcome at those because they don't want minorities who are the majority to have this birthright and this freedom and be able to, continue in their steps of prosperity with low taxes, the right to self-defense, property rights, things like that. So it was a stroke of genius. The last 6-7 years, they were able to really brand it as if it was something bad, and so minorities felt like they couldn't be part of that. And now they've just expanded, but Trump began the last 2 years to break that, and we'd see 30-40% of the people at rallies being minorities. I mean, at our own rallies, we saw like half in Cleveland, and that's what really shook up. I was watching the Mother Jones riders and other people that were there. They were really shook up, and they were looking at the crowd, and it was frightening the elite. It was really frightening the establishment. So now, while they're capitulating to the Trump victory and populism on the surface, all over the world they're going into overdrive, branding any type of populism by people that aren't blonde-haired, blue-eyed as racist. And I, on the newsstand before I got on this plane, I'm sitting there about to take off, so I got to hurry, bought a Mother Jones Ford Foundation propaganda piece, and of course the Council on Foreign Relations / Davos Group economist propaganda, and literally, this is what the pseudo-intellectuals read. The entire thing on almost every page shows blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in real photos, but also in editorial cartoons, saying blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are bad, putting KKK hats on them, and then saying if someone looks like this, then they're your enemy. And these are publications that mainly go to the white intelligentsia, so they can go out now and henpeck everyone into this submission. This is just two things I got off the newsstand. I mean, this is the most cultic brainwashing I've ever seen. Clear-cut, cold-blooded. They know exactly what they're doing, but it's so transparent. If we just call it, it will collapse, and that's what's begun to happen. That's why they stole those 5 states from Trump. And that they tried to sell another 5 because the numbers were minorities were even bigger in landslides for him. That's what we saw in the primary. So they're very, very scared. Their whole paradigm is shattering. They're trying to invoke all this, but our real gang we're in is free market. That's what unifies us and Western civilization. And it's like Gran Torino. It's a fictional account, but the guy didn't like his spoiled family. He's a white guy. It's a sign of declining white culture, which is the truth. Western culture is in massive decline, and he gives the love of his life, the Gran Torino, to the kid that made something of himself in the neighborhood. And that's not some affirmative action bull in the movie. It's like real. That's how it really works, folks. So they want to steal that birthright from everybody who's hardworking and a big part of America, telling you don't get to be part of it, telling you you're in their gang, you're under their control because you're a victim and they're going to take care of you and they know how to run your life. They're going to tell you how to talk and they're going to tell you what to do. So again, this is total desperation by the most scientific, cold-blooded psychological warfare divisions of the Central Intelligence Agency. But most of the CIA is awake to this and now breaking with the whole deal. One other part to the psychological warfare of who they're targeting with these publications is a lot of people that read these aren't actual controller level. They don't understand the paradigm or the Hegelian dialectic. But clearly, they're inflicting a guilt complex in the publications on anyone who is white or has blonde hair. You notice they also have photos of women with blonde hair and blue eyes, but in the ads who are activists, and then they're the good person. So it shows them who are good, and it shows the corporations that are backing it, and then it shows everyone else that's bad. So then you think, oh my God, I have this guilt. I need to submit to this. I know I'm stating the obvious here, but it's key that we know this, but the public doesn't. And once they understand the trick, they get angry and they break free of the programming. And then future programming only causes them to resist and entrench harder against the enemy. And then it opens up larger pathways to the mind to begin to resist and overcome and adapt in the animating contest instead of submitting to it. And that's why the public looks like zombies, because subconsciously they know they've been beaten into submission. It's time to break that. So I'm going to follow this report. I'm going to follow more. I'm Alex Jones from the front lines, the Infowars. A lot of positive things are happening, but a lot of negative things are happening. We've got to keep fighting, keep pushing. It's the animating contest of liberty. But these people are super low. They promote thug culture in here. They try to sell minorities on acting like thugs as if that's their culture, so they can then be identified and put in prison. This is so evil. Infowars.com. Spread that, folks. They're trying to censor it, but you are overpowering it. We are overpowering it together. And I want to salute you all as we go into 2017 and beyond.
Bombshell report there from Alex Jones about how the popular culture is pushing this thug culture. And I mean, it is that. It's the culture. It's not the skin color of the perpetrators. That's how they try and deceive us. Again, how they try to divide us, get us at each other's throats. There was Thomas Sowell, the commentator, the writer, who talked about black kids born in Germany after the war between white German women and black US troops after the Second World War that weren't exposed to this same gangster thug culture, this illegitimacy that plagues black communities in the United States, this MTV gangster rap culture. They grew up to be just as educated as everybody else, just as successful as everybody else. And the crime stats were completely in line with everyone else in Germany. So it doesn't have anything to do with race. It has to do with this culture that's being rammed down our necks and then legitimized by the mainstream media. And we see it again in the aftermath of this horrific beating and abuse and torture of this 18-year-old mentally disabled man in Chicago. This is a city that has record shootings, record black-on-black crime, 54 people shot during the first 4 days of 2017 alone in gun-controlled Chicago. You don't see Black Lives Matter talking about that, do you? Despite the fact that the vast majority of victims are black. Black people killing each other far outstrips any kind of statistic when it comes to police shootings. But look at the reaction to this. Look at what Sean King tweeted, the big Black Lives Matter leader who was born white yet pretends to be black. Sean King just put out an article at the New York Daily News in regard to this torture and beating. Bearing in mind, this is the senior justice writer for the New York Daily News. He said, "The simple reason why I won't be fighting for justice for the young man who was assaulted in Chicago." So the senior justice writer for the New York Daily News says he won't be fighting for justice because the victim's white. Again, another example of Black Lives Matter race baiting. And then look at this, also from the New York Daily News. Torture attack on Illinois teen, not racially motivated, say police. Okay, so we played video clips earlier of police indicating that they wouldn't treat it as a racially motivated crime. Now we have confirmation of that. New York Daily News, 4 black suspects who tortured a mentally disabled white teen on Facebook Live. Video threatened him with a knife and forced him to drink water from a toilet. But police claim he was targeted because of his special needs, not because of his race. Well, number one, we read Chicago hate crime law. A person commits a hate crime when they assault someone by reason of mental disability. That is one of the reasons within the law that quantifies it, that qualifies it as a hate crime. So even if they say he was targeted because of his mental disability, that's a hate crime. Not going to weasel out of it that way either, Chicago police. But Chicago police spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said Thursday that while the suspects made terrible racist statements, so he admits that they made racist remarks against white people and the president-elect during the on-camera attack, it does not appear to be racially motivated. Okay! So they're yelling F white people. They're forcing the bound, gagged, beaten victim to say F white people. They're forcing the bound, gagged, and beaten victim to say, I love black people. They're filming it live on Facebook. They're hurling racial slurs, and Chicago police have come out and said that this is not racially motivated. Give me a break. I mean, if somebody so much as pulls a hijab, it's a racial hate crime within minutes. Again, flip it round. 4 black people kidnapping somebody, a black person, yelling F Obama, yelling F black people, making him say, I love white people. Would it be a hate crime? Yes, it would. Within minutes, the media, the police, everybody would say it was a hate crime. Yet this is not a hate crime. Again, the institutionalized anti-white racist narrative continues. We'll be back live on The Alex Jones Show. Don't go away.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.